really important lesson today, and it really has a powerful effect on the student's perception of how to freewheel their release and continue a freewheeling release. To experience what it's like post-impact. What should the body be doing? How should it feel to release the club freely after impact? Because we've got to give the body the experience of what it's like after impact for us to be able to commit and freely swing through to freewheel the impact and really let the club head release. All too often there's a really amplified hit, and suddenly what can appear to be quite a nice sequenced action suddenly starts to take the form of an aggressive tensioned hit, because the body's not really got any experience of what we would like to feel and experience after impact. Because we hit the golf ball and the next thing we're watching the golf ball, and the follow through is it's not given any thought whatsoever. Our awareness in this territory, our lead side, so as a right hander, my left side here, is severely lacking. Because I've spent probably most of my time checking my backswing, checking my downswing, and swinging into impact, checking my impact, hitting impact bags, checking my angles, and just expecting that, this will all take care of itself. I've hit the ball, that's it, that's done now. I'm watching the golf ball. What I want you to appreciate is we're using both sides of the body. There's just as much swing this side here. So we've got to give the body the experience it needs to let us go there, to let us push off, accelerate the club, safe in the knowledge that this is territory we've already experienced and are free to swing and move into, and recognise these very safe, functional and dynamic patterns that are just as important. They are part of the whole event of a swing, because if we're going to be pushing off, we're going to be using our lead side supinatory chains. This is going to require a whole pattern, and it doesn't just stop at the golf ball. It stabilises, pressure's still moving, the system is tensioning to allow the club to continue to freewheel. So we are allowing this continuation of the action to take place, like throwing a ball. There isn't a stop. You let it go and the arm just swings back. Kick a ball, you kick it, the leg recoils back. It's an elastic recoil. We're using the elastic properties of the body, which means to be elastic, it has to be reacting passively. It tensions passively to the pivot of the body. So we've got to recognise where this goes. So how do we do this? Well, this exercise is so important. You're going to need a TheraBand. And what I want you to do is, you could use a table leg. I'm going to use this as just a resistance. I need something to just pull against gently. We're not going to be yanking it. And I'm just going to pop this around here. And then I'm going to pop it around the club head. I'm going to twist it a few times so it's more secure. I'm going to hold it with my lead arm, and I'm going to hold it at an angle at, say, 10:30. For me, as a right-hander, 10:30. This TheraBand is pulling us, but the golf club's going to pull us with so much more force in this direction. And this is only a moment in time. We're just picking a snapshot in time of where we would be on the follow-through post-impact. We could be here and applying more force. Okay, I'm saying 10:30 to standardise it. Post-impact, we're going to feel the opposing force to enable this golf club to continue on its natural journey. This is how we create that natural, I don't use the word plane very often, of the arc. It continues on the arc. It's a continuation, so it's essentially allowing the golf club to continue on its path, and we can then sense the rotation of the club face on that path. Whereas if the path is changing quite violently, that may affect the feedback we're getting through the face and path. So it's also going to obviously play havoc with the golf shot if the path's changing direction quick, because as you pull the club towards you, the path's changing. Path's going out and then you're pulling it in. Why would your arms do this? Well, that's because the body's not opposing. If the body's not doing its job and you're not using the ground and creating these forces to oppose the pulling force of the club, then you're going to have to do the pulling. And your body already recognises when these forces kick in and it's starting to pull the club towards you. And now you're doing the pulling. This is all tension. How do we let this club swing freely, we've got to recognise how we oppose it with the body from the ground up. And it's the pivot, it's rotation, it's pushing off. Notice here, to stretch this band, to create a pulling force, I'm actually rotating away from the club head here. And I'm allowing my arm to rotate. So this club could freewheel, it could rotate. This club's rotating. I'm rotating about the shaft with the, basically supination. Forearm, elbow, shoulder, everything here, the wrist, the whole arm. And so this rotation of the golf club isn't being compromised by me pulling, because this is going to restrict my ability to rotate the face. And yes, this is post-impact, but it's going to be happening pre-impact. So already now I'm restricting how I can release the club, and I'm probably adding loft. It's the early release. It's this kind of form that we're starting to enter into before we strike the golf ball, and post-impact. And then we're all looking at this, the chicken wing, and thinking, oh my God, I've got to fix this, I've got to keep my arm extended. But there's a reason. And it's not generally because it's a swing fault, it's because we're not really recognising the forces we need to use. Pushing off in this direction rotates the body. We're doing this. And this is rotating. And when it's angled back, I'm getting a rotation in this direction, away from where the club's swinging. We're moving away from the direction the club's travelling. But through rotation, we push off. So how do we recognise the speed of it? Well, first of all, just explore it, feel the pressure in the forefoot, and then push off, back to the heel. Just going to snap the leg. I use the word snap in the loosest sense. Extend quick, ankle, knee, hip, but it's really toe, ankle, knee, hip. And let that left hip get pushed back behind you. Might even feel like you're leaning back. Remember, this golf club's going to be pulling you. So the net result of this is you ain't going to be going back. This club's going to be swinging forward. You're actually, through this action, encouraging the golf club to swing through and accelerate and actually pull you with more force, which is probably going to keep you even more on the left side. And you're allowing the club to freewheel. Now, if we want to take this a step further, I use sliders. You'll see these in my lessons. I use the vector map. It's going to be out soon. What we're going to do is use a little step exercise. We're going to take our stance, and then we're going to pull the left foot, lead foot back to the right foot. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow now, I'm going to step forward to the side, target side, and I'm going to let that TheraBand pull me. Okay. And then I'm going to push off and use that push off to rotate my pelvis. That's going to rotate my torso. That's going to pull my lead shoulder back round and up, and that's going to stretch the TheraBand. And I'm going to allow my lead arm to rotate, and I'm not pulling. If I want to feel more force, I'll step further away. So there's a bit more pulling force on me now. It's pulling me into that place, and I'm going to resist. But I'm resisting it by using the big muscles of the lower body and my lead side. And I'm triggering it from the ground. It's getting fired from the foot, from the ball of the foot. There's a pushing off and a twisting action taking place. This is my pivot. It's even sliding this towards me. And it's effortless here. All this musculature is still soft. So I'm going to take that club away with a normal stance just now with the lead arm. Just make a few little swings. And what you were feeling there, you can just allow yourself at this moment in time just to push off back. And just like that club swing off the body. It's not going to do this in real life with both hands on the club as you're rotating, because it's attached to you now. You're rotating, it's going to get pulled round with you, but what you're doing is you're opposing the central mass of the club head that's pulling you. So where does this take us into our finish? This is where the lead step drill comes in. Take a lead step and then spring into the finish. And notice where the pressure took you. Now, if you watch the previous tutorials over the last few weeks, you'll notice how we created the braking force. The toes of the accelerators, the heels of the brakes. So we've got to allow ourselves, when we take that lead step, to push off and use the heel as the brake. So the heel is the brake. Really important because that suddenly stabilises the whole lead side and allows this to continue and the club to swing freely and the arms to remain soft, so we can continue to use the weight of the club in the swing into the finish. And how often do you see the follow-throughs of those guys on tour? They're soft. You're going to pick up on how you're using your body, as opposed to, are you hitting these positions, or is the club coming from the inside? Or these things happen as a product of good functional movement. So let's tap into the function, let's attune ourselves to that, and you'll find all these swing positions, all these things start to just naturally happen. So guys, drop your comments below, let me know how you get on. Try this, it does require a bit of a setup. TheraBand, not a heavy TheraBand, because you've got to be able to pull it freely. You don't need to be using a lot of tension. Nice, medium tension TheraBand, something stable, make sure it's a safe environment. We don't want any pain. Any time you feel pain, stop. You can always fire questions in on the comments, but don't think more is better. Okay, very subtle, very short, sharp, subtle movements. We're looking for how we're creating these forces over a quick period of time, because we don't have that much time in a golf swing. We can't take too much time creating force because we haven't got the time. So we've got to find the efficient way of creating these forces, and that's what this is tapping into. So let me know how you get on, guys. Drop your comments below, and let's get the games ready for next season.